Hello, air signs. Welcome to February 2021. I am pleased as punch to see you here. Thank you for joining me. I guess one of the reasons is because, hey, we've made it through 1 month already of a brand new year. And how's that been going for you? Intentions, resolutions. Hope well. I hope well. So, if you resonate with what I say, what I see, the way I feel about the cards that come through today, then this reading is for you. If you do not, it's okay. Something's got to work. Something will work. At any rate, let's get rolling. We'll start with the inquiry deck. The inquiry deck that's filled with nothing but inquiries, questions that we can use to drive attention, focus. And there's a special card in here for air signs for February 2021. And here it is. What can I let go of? I guess that's not a bad thing, especially for Aquarians at this time because of all the benevolent aspects in the planets there are right now with regards to Aquarius. But for all, certainly, there are benefits for this year. And contrast that with what was there for us last year. And it's early in 2021, right? So just very quickly, this is how I feel about this. If we start out by knowing that in store for us potentially, with a great deal of probability, are good things, and then we get some confirmation of that early on, that good things are in store. The very first thing that could be the most healthy in terms of fast, dynamic growth would be to immediately go, well, instead of I'll spend my time jumping up and down for joy, sure, jump up and down for joy for a moment, but then ask yourself this question: what can I let go of? Let's start with the Yang today. The Yang, the divine masculine, the active force, whatever you want to call it. Take away the names, and the energy within is the same. Yang, February 2021. Let's start out with, wow. It's the second time that the Yang started out with the Page of Wands. That, I think, happened for Earth signs also. But it was not followed by this, and you are air signs. King of Cups. And the Sun. Well, this being a Yang line and a divine masculine line, there's a lot of masculine Yang energy displayed here in this line. So it's pretty much important to lean in that direction as things unfold in February. Fascinating, isn't it, that both the Page of Wands and the King of Cups are united in that they're both looking at the Sun card. Well, so let's start with the Sun card and see whatever could be a potential benefit of focusing on the Sun card. Well, one big item to make mention of here is the level of acceptance that is represented by the major arcana card, the Sun. Are we accepting our others? Are we accepting each other? Are we accepting ourselves? The Sun accepts everyone. The Sun shines just as brightly on that person over there, if they're not in the shade, as it does on this person over here. And and likewise for everyone else. The Sun is universal. The Sun is unconditional love. And perhaps if you are heading for a relationship or you are in a relationship, it is a good time to embrace or re-embrace your own inner concept of acceptance and unconditional love. To shine your sun without conditions upon everything and everyone. That is tough, right? And how tough has it been when we've seen all the social unrest that's been going on? If there was ever a display of lack of acceptance, it's been carried out in the streets lately. And that is not only not how it has to be, the leadership of the collective that is going to head for a better, more refined space is not going to be about that energy at all. There's a certain mentality that can say, I don't have time for that. So, in this case, whatever you're doing, Yang, in February, extracting from all the chemical reactions, the biological reactions, everything you go through in February, why not try extracting from each one of those a question? Because if you are intent on being unconditional in your love and the way you love and the way you bring your game to the planet Earth, then there will be a lot of answers to this question. A lot of answers to what can I let go of? And you know the nice thing about that is? The nicest thing is that it's your choice. When you do it, no one's necessarily going to be telling you to do it. And that makes you something special. You're already special. And this takes that level of special and raises the bar. Okay, so very quickly, however, I think the engagement to get there is to roll around the dynamics between, this is for Yang, roll around the dynamics between a page and the Page of Wands and a king, a page and a king. Take just those two individuals and roll around the dynamics of them in that decision making of what you can let go of or what you want to accomplish in February. And from what many astrologer friends are saying, and you can see this for yourself on YouTube all over the place, there are benevolent scenarios happening in February. It's nothing to be sneezed at. It's something that we can use to grow big. And let's say you've got the page, both the Page of Wands, the King of Cups behind you as a support mechanism. You've got the whole spectrum covered. You've got the leadership that comes naturally to a king. A king, when he gets to looking like this and being at that level, doesn't have questions about his ability to lead. He leads, and that is it. It's second nature. Well, what's second nature for the page? Second nature for the page is that a page knows where they stand a lot because they're growing. They're looking up to where they're going, to the higher level. If they're going to grow in the court, in the royal court, if the page is going to grow, then they're going to have a sharp focus about how that growth takes place. And a lot of times, what has to also be inserted into a page's mentality in order to grow that way is what? The remembrance of the fact that you are low man on the totem pole. And that being the case, it's completely appropriate to settle down, to be beginner. I've brought this up before. I really like the idea of the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind. So you've got the beginner's mind going on simultaneously with the king's leadership, top of the heap mentality as a backup to carry out your fondest wishes in a solar being a star, being the star that we call the sun. Let us move to the yin. Looks like pretty dynamic dynamic in an overt way for yang energy in February. Where does yin stand in that dynamic? Let's see what the cards have to say. Yin. Let's begin. Six of Swords. Knight of Cups. And the Empress. Not only yeah, but hell yeah, right? Okay, so let's give a nod to the Six of Swords as a motivating factor. And if you're going to consider this question, then the Six of Swords is an appropriate card because that's the boat that's leaving the shore for distant lands, but it's letting go of what has been. So yin is starting out with, yang starting out with a page mentality to begin, walking in the door with a page mentality, going, okay, what's behind this door? Walks in, finds the room filled with reminders of the curiosity, the beginner's mind, the beginning a new venture, beginning a new phase, if you will. This is applicable across the board to money, to spirit, to earthly possessions, to have a divine influence. All this stuff, this is applicable across the board. So, yin may be, if you guys are in a relationship, we'll talk about this more, but yin may be interested in raising the bar already through a proactive, airy swords, right? Approach to raising the bar, towards moving things to a higher level. And look at the Knight of Cups, given a big nod, right? The Knight is an interesting character. Think about the fact that the Knight is potentially and possibly, in some schools of thought, subscribe to this and actually teach it, that the Knight is above, like a step above the king. It comes from this kind of a basis. The basis that the Knight is an emissary that takes the message, all the mentality, dynamics, style, approach, personality characteristics of cups in this level, in this particular case, of cups, and carries it forward. That's why the knights have steeds. They ride their steeds. But in order to do that, to be that emissary, you are given the qualities of carrying the image of the realm inside all the time, because that's what you portray to others as you carry it forward. So what does that mean to yin? Well, yin is going, okay, I want to raise the bar, and I can do that. And you know, with the qualities here, it might be a bid for yin to tackle some kinds of some of the aspects of a perceived imbalance in our society between yin and yang. And if that's the case, then a lot of strength, a lot of inspiration, etc., is required and needed. But if it's just as simple as a knight being a love interest, there's no question about the synchronicity of raising the bar, and simultaneously, by raising that bar, in walks Yin's knight in shining armor, so to speak, however that interprets for you. On the other hand, if it's not about a partnership or relationship, but about yin themselves, yin takes that step anyway to raise the bar with the 6. And all of a sudden, the combination of the emotional value that the knight brings forward within the cup appears and empowers. It appears and empowers yin. What results from that? The Empress herself. And the Empress being the seat of creative juices, that may be the gateway not only the gateway, but also the light at the end of the tunnel, the vision, the visualization that gets yin, like I was saying, extracting the ultimate benefit out of any operation. That's how yin extracts in February the ultimate from their life. And it's got a ton of payback or paying it forward kind of thing to it. I sense that the Empress sometimes the Empress is represented as just creative forces, just creative energy, without really the mindset of applying it anywhere. That's the role of the Emperor. Well, I think that the Empress is got another active role that's almost invisible, and you got to look for it. You got to be aware of it to see it. And that is just like she is the embodiment of the natural creativity and growth of nature on the earth. Nature pays it forward naturally, right? Nature gives back immediately. It's as simple as this. Why do they sell houseplants that provide oxygen? What do they get out of it? Right? Well, they don't breathe oxygen. They emit it. And it benefits us when we breathe oxygen, and we water the plants, feed the plants, and they provide us oxygen. But that providing oxygen component of the dynamic is happening constantly, and it's happening whether we're breathing the oxygen or not. So when it doesn't contribute necessarily to someone's household, think about forests and forests and forests and oceans that are all kicking out oxygen, and they are actually formulating that mantle that embraces us as the atmosphere on our planet. That's the paying it forward part. And nature's doing it all the time. And the yin can adopt that same modality just with a thought, just with the idea that, oh yeah, there's paying it forward within this transaction that I'm doing. This transaction, whether it be an emotional transaction or a monetary, financial transaction. Really, really cool. We're going to go for the blended energies. For blended energies, I only use major arcana. That's why you'll get 4 major arcana cards here. You won't have any questions about, well, how did you do that? Okay, and so I've got 22, right? For the 22 arcana, major arcana. First is 9. Second is 11. Third is 17. Fourth is 19. Cool. So we got 9 first. 1, 2. Let me shuffle these a few times. That'll do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. The situation, the overall picture. Wheel of Fortune. The obstacle, if there is one, and we'll see. The Hermit. The Asset. High Priestess. And the potential outcome. The World. Wow. Okay, guys. I suppose it could be small potatoes, but I don't think you think so. I mean, for those of you who are resonating with this, I think you're going to feel like it's something big that's been, it's not the first time you've heard it. It's not the first time you've heard it from your own inner voice. Why do I say that? Because we start with the fact that it's the turning of the wheel as the overall here. The overall is that the world is turning, your world is turning somehow. To the extent that you come out of it changed somehow. You come out of it, you're not the same, and you never will be again. And so, can you take that in? Is that a big pill to swallow? Is that a reasonable mouthful of information that will be easily absorbed for you? That's yours to decide, for sure. Because the level that you come in at, what you put in is what you get out. And let's not forget, if you're letting go of something, there are certain things you can let go of that you won't even remember you did it. It's so little in your, it's just something you gotta get rid of out of whatever, your baggage, and you do it and it's done and it goes away. And there are other things that you have to let go of that are sewn so deeply, woven into your being so thoroughly that it takes time to even see the extent to which it occupies space within you before you can even begin to let it go. Right? Okay. So I think a good attitude for this, because it is big, is retaining one's sense of humor. As a teacher, I was trained to know how to detect burnout in its early stages And they said that one of the first things to go is your sense of humor. So this is not about getting burned out. This is for your well-being, not your demise in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, let's call things as we see them. And the wheel is the wheel. The turning of the wheel. There's an element of mystery, chance. I mean, why do people play the wheel? Why do people play roulette? There's a certain element of mystery about it. We want to see what's going to happen. We want to actually, in a sense, be able to predict what's going to happen. Are we successful? To an extent, and I think we get better at it as we practice it. The obstacle, being the hermit. I think the hermit can be taken as a being of different manifestations. And he's looking, I mean, his lantern is lighting the way for the wheel to move forward. But a hermit can be looked at as a sober, somewhat too serious individual. And yet, hovering within the hermit, just waiting for you to call him on it, call him on it to say, dude, you don't give me that facade of piety and all that stuff that's stuffy. Don't be stuffy. And all of a sudden, boom, he turns around and he's jolly. He turns jolly. He delivers the same message, but he turns jolly. And as an obstacle, consider that you yin and yang, could have a tendency to take this transformation, this operation, this turning of the wheel too seriously. And that will be an obstacle. The asset, however, is the high priestess. And let's stay with the idea of jolly here. Now, I don't perceive the high priestess as being jolly, because she seems to carry the kind of message that is too profound to just joke about. I mean, it's not that it can't be lighthearted, but it doesn't go into the mirth, M-I-R-T-H mode. In my vision of the Empress. However, that doesn't mean it can't be a good time. And she is your asset. So in some way, she's going to appeal. Her message to you is going to appeal to you. And I would say that the way, if you're going to extract from this the max, then to let that appeal live, thrive, survive. The appeal, that synchronicity, the harmony between you and the high priestess. Let it reign supreme. Laugh as you learn. Be joyful as she takes you through mysteries that take you to the inner parts of your being, where you find out how to apply the progression of these energies up here. And then last but not least, the potential outcome is perfect balance. Need I say more? It's what everybody wants. It's what everybody's going for, whether they'll admit it or not. And that's what the potential outcome is. And then inherent in that, of course, is the sub-message, the subheading that, yep, it's right there. Go get it. But remember, you got to do your part to get there. It's not going to come to you and land in your lap. You got to go meet it halfway. Clarifiers. We'll start with the Yang. And instead of going for a clarifier on an individual card, I'd just like to get 3 cards that speak about a general, let's say, the personality of this line. It's filled with amazing stuff. All right. The personality is starting with the Hermit. So yeah. Don't take it. No, I mean, you could start your calling the Hermit on being too serious, too stuffy right away. Star card, Aquarians. So for air signs, though, I mean, it doesn't matter what sign you are. The star is the star. It has Aquarian overtones. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Aquarius, in the planets, in February. So jump on those. That's the thing, is that, you know, if you were to tell me in a conversation that you felt that you had been somehow jaded or weighted down or made ponderous in your approach to things by what happened last year to everyone, I would not be surprised, and I would go, probably me too. But, you know, in order to jack ourselves out of that, because that's no more real than anything else, I mean, take it as, yeah, it happened, and learn from it, but don't dwell upon it and don't carry it as baggage, right? So, but in order to get there, to transition back and maybe come out cleaner and fresher and whatever than before, you pry yourself out of the mentality that has convinced you that you were made ponderous by last year. So what better way to do it is through the Aquarian, the star card. And maybe the message in here is that the energy for this come of recovery from 2020 comes through the collective, comes through an Aquarian type of approach, that it is by joining with others to accomplish a task that the task is accomplished. And last but not least, we have the Ace of Swords, which is awesome, glorious, because swords are air, right? And this is saying, and folks, or young folks, the world's your oyster in a way that is unmistakable. Potential it may be. I mean, this is not where the rubber meets the road. This is potential rubber meeting the road. But it's signaling a direction, and it's signaling, don't forget, anything is possible. Wow. The Hermit lights the way. The star is the way, is your personal north arrow. And then your Ace of Swords is your beginning, your magnificent coming out of the seed and becoming the magnificent plant that you are. Let's do the same with the yin line. Sweet. I'm an air sign. So I'm liking this reading as much as you are. And we go for yin now. The magician. What's this line? The energy of this line. The magician, followed by the Four of Cups, followed by the Nine of Swords. So much is asked of those who have much to give. And yin, I'm detecting you got more to give this month. Like if you're in a partnership and you are an air sign, it might be that you're the leader for February. You might have to, walk out from, following somebody down the path and walk to the fore and lead the charge on the path in February. Just saying. However, the element of this line is that there's, once again, unlimited potential. Gemini, air here, and the magician. So why not just bank on that? Why not just like springboard off? I mean, Yang ended with that kind of a conclusion of the ace. You're starting with the magician. It's like a higher level in terms of divinely inspired, perhaps, spirit connection inspired. But it's also, you're starting out with the magician himself. Full of potential, and also full of kind of, sly energy that wants to go out and prove himself. A bit of an adventuresome chap, if you will. Four of Cups is sitting in the middle. Good. Well, that's only telling me there's stability. So you got this adventuresome energy surrounding you, swirling around you. In the middle of you, however, is an ability to settle down at an instant, get in contact with your inner being, and become the emotional embodiment that you are, and then walk forward into what many consider to be challenging territory, i.e. the Nine of Swords, but not you. That's excitement for you. Like going, okay, when they charge, the enemy charges, what do? Do you hold your positions? Do you retreat, run away? Or do you charge back? And that's the kind of energy I'm feeling from this approach. So yin may not look like there's such dynamics. That's why I was talking about the yin-yang balance in society, that you got some fire in your belly somewhere that wants to express itself, and you're up to the game from the way the cards are looking. Okay, one for each of these cards. When you get this has happened so many times this lately. I mean, with all the Page of Swords has been showing up over and over again, and so when the wheel turns, take the Page of Swords with you into the arena. It's looking to me like you may not be that adept at that part of the game yet, but do it anyway. Take it with you. Both yin and yang here is what we're talking about. The obstacle, 7 of Wands. Fiery. So when you are, let's say you would follow along the idea that I was presenting as not taking things too seriously. Well, also, I would say when confronting that energy with the Hermit might be testing you to see if you can maintain or you can see through the facade to the joyful dance that it is that he's offering. And you come in and you're going to call him. You say, well, I'm going to call him on this. At the same time, I believe this is feeling like you don't want to go to the extent where arrogance starts to show its ugly head. You can be energetic. You can be a soldier type person without arrogance. That's strength, but it's intelligent strength. And the Le Papessa. When you go visit the High Priestess, leave all your faulty, as many as you can, your artificial encumbrances, clothing, symbolic clothing, whatever. Go in as naked as a newborn babe. When you go see the High Priestess, go in without anything but you, as much as you can. So that you're not like the story where the Zen master pours a cup of tea for the acolyte and pours it until the cup until it's full, and then keeps on pouring as the cup overflows. And then the result is that he says that that's what you're like, you acolyte. You're like a cup that's already full, and there's nothing I can pour in. So be as much an empty cup when you go see the High Priestess as you can, and you will get so much from her. I mean, if you could even begin to imagine what's behind her curtain and in her book of knowledge, I mean, that's enough reason right there to walk in clean, unencumbered, open, vulnerable. Take judgment with you. And then, now we're starting to go, there are things to let go of. I didn't think so before. Last but not least, the pathway to the world card, your outcome, is in fact in the purview and realm of the Knight of Cups. So remember, we saw him here. All the cards are doing is reminding us that to look back there. Yin, it's like what I was saying. You could very easily become the default leader of some kind of operation that you want to be in, for sure. But you'll be thrust to the fore. You'll be propelled up to the leadership role to lead the charge in February. However, it's not like you're doing it for nothing. You're doing it so that you can reach that level of perfect balance. The completion card, the world card. So, my friends, it's been a joy, and it's been my pleasure. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you next month. Be well. Love y'all. Bye for now.